Cars is my favorite game, and you know I can't be beat when I'm in the driver's seat. See, I got a lead foot and gas in my veins. God put a V8 where he should have put brains. There ain't a race I haven't run. There ain't a race I haven't won. And it's been 7 days since I've won a race, and I don't plan on leaving this place till I've won another. Send you crying home to your mother. See, I got the car, the skill, the crew, the will. God hates a sinner, but he loves a winner. You dare to show your face? Come on, Ace. Let's race.
We're going to try this again. Hello, everybody. This is Joe Larson. You're watching the 5051 Racing Show. It's only you miss a week and you just forget what buttons you got to push. Man, oh, man. Anyway, hope everybody had a good week, good couple of weeks anyway. I had some things to take care of last week, so sorry we missed what would have been a nice discussion about New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Not that we can't talk about it today, but you know, there seems to be some pressing issues here. Yeah, Rusty. Thanks, Mike. You know, it's all over I guess the social media and websites and people chatting and back and forth about a very big race that occurred this weekend on Long Island, and that was the Jazambek Evans Baldwin Memorial, the 770 lapper. It's one of the biggest races on Long Island for the modified contingent, and unfortunately nobody told the modified guys about it. There was nobody, the Rusty stop. There was nobody there. There were 10 local regulars and 4 tour regulars that attended this event. And I want to preface this. I want everybody to understand that this discussion is in no way a bashing or a bad-mouthing or negativity towards Riverhead Raceway or its management, its PR people, or anybody involved with the place. Exactly, it's a disclaimer. It covers me. But when you know, I was going to go to the race, and I had some other things I had to do and take care of, and sometimes you gotta make these decisions. And you know, over the years, I missed a lot of things because of racing. And you know, you get to a certain age or a certain period in your life where some other things sometimes are more important. So I had to take care of some things that to me were more important than going and watching a 7-7 lapper. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side of the fence you're on, so did a bunch of other people, including competitors. This race has been advertised all over the place. The teams knew about it. Like I said, my understanding was 14 cars. And like I said earlier, 4 were tour regulars. Take those tour regulars out, you had 10 cars. 10 cars racing in one of the biggest races of the year. I don't understand that. And when I looked at some of the social media and some of the comments that go back and forth, you know, it seems like everybody wants to blame somebody else. Some of the teams want to blame the officiating. The officiating officials want to blame the race teams and the crews, and the promoters want to blame the economy, and the PR guy wants to blame, you know, whomever. The bottom line is that nobody showed up. Now, yes, there was some questionable weather in the forecast, which might have kept some of the fans home, but I've seen race teams drive to events in torrential downpours, hoping that it's going to stop, because they got to be the first competitor online. They got to be the first one in the garage area. They got to be the first one to unload. But man, oh man, and from what I could see in the chat room, most of you folks in the chat room are local people here on Long Island who go to the same racetracks that I go to. And maybe, you know, I don't know anybody that was there. I think, I'm sure My Race News WJ, I'm sure you were there, myracenews.com, a big supporter of InRavio and 505 on. But, yeah, what was the deal there? Now, I was talking to a competitor who shall remain nameless. I tried to convince him to come on, but as he put it, or she put it, or they put it, they were afraid of repercussions. And I said, well, what kind of repercussions? You're going to get on and say why you chose to race on that race? What kind of repercussions could there be? He goes, well, you know, you open your mouth there, and you have the mysterious leaks, and you have mysterious smoke, and And I said to the guy, you don't have to tell me about mysterious leaks and mysterious smoke. You know, I had a driver start 24th at an event, and 5 laps later he was 6th, and all of a sudden there was mysterious smoke, or I'm sorry, a mysterious leak, and we were black flag and a double point race. You know, so I know all about that. But you know, sometimes you just have to overcome that. You just, you know, go take your lumps, show them that you're not going to be pushed out. But it seems, and just from as an outsider looking in, that stuff's happening. Again, and I don't want to call it, favoritism. Because I'm going to be honest with you, it's hard as an official, no matter what level of racing you're in, whether it's the go-kart level, the weekly level, or touring series, trucks, nationwide, sprint, there is some semblance of, hey, you know, I like that guy. So that means that guy or gal is going to get the gray area. Black is black, white is white, and you know, the rules are the rules, but you could give that competitor the gray area, something that might go either way. And I'd be remiss as an official if I didn't say I've never done that. I have. I'm sure Mike Helton has done that. I'm sure every race director, every series director has done that. If the rules don't address it in black and white, it's in a discussion and it's handled as such. So with that being said, in talking to this competitor who really felt that and we'll talk about that in a minute, Mike, he really felt that he had to make a stand, but he also said to me there were other competitors that were making a stand as well. Now, does the racetrack really care? I think they do. I'm hoping they do. It's, you know, as Mike, the video guy, says, you know, if he or she doesn't speak up, how will things get changed? Mike, this stuff's been going on at that place for over 50 years, and not just at that place. It's happening all over the globe, anywhere the way there's a racetrack. I'm telling you, I was in the tower of a weekly racetrack, getting ready to do a tour race, and they had their weekly feature division go out, and the owner of the racetrack on his cell phone called the head tech guy and said, so-and-so cannot win this race. We have a guy that's going for national points, and he finished second. It happens. I'm not saying this is what's going on here on Long Island, please, and I don't want any of these stupid phone calls tomorrow from people saying I said this. But it's not okay to sweep it on the rug. But this competitor has tried everything. He's tried talking to the promoters. He's tried talking to the tech people. He's tried talking to the head officials. He's tried everything. And it just seems like with this guy or this gal, the rules apply differently to him or her. And he's just tired of it. And you know what? I think that takes some gumption, man, to stand by what you say. Because I'll tell you what, I wish I had a nickel every time a driver said, that's it, I'm not coming back. They screwed me, they shafted me, they this, they that. I'm not coming back. I wish I had a nickel for every time that somebody said that. This person said, I'm not coming back this next week. I'm not running that race. And everyone's like, you're going to be the first guy in line. No, I'm not. And everybody tried to convince this competitor to go racing. And he didn't. And he stuck to his guns. And I'll tell you what, I got to respect that. I really do. I got to respect that. Because I don't know if I could have done that. I know I left many racetrack, well, not many, maybe one, saying this is it, I'm done, everything's for sale, come get it, go race it, go have it, it's free. And then you know what happens? Your sponsor calls you, your crew chief calls you. In one incident, your car owner calls you. I can tell you a funny story, and this goes back, it goes back to 1994, 5 maybe. I really felt I got the shaft one week at the racetrack, and I wasn't racing. I wasn't going back. I wasn't spending the money. I wasn't going to buy another set of tires, another 5 gallons of fuel, pay an entry fee, pay the welder. I wasn't doing it. I got tired of being screwed by what I felt were bad calls by the officials, judgment calls by the officials that just didn't seem to go my way. You know, shame on poor Joe. I'm going to pout about it. So, unbeknownst to me, the crew got the car ready, thinking I would change my mind. I didn't change my mind. Saturday afternoon comes, we usually leave in the morning, but Saturday afternoon comes, I put the Yankee game on, I put my feet up. Next thing I know, my wife and kids are going to the racetrack. My race car's on the trailer and with some guy towing it. And she said to me, she goes, you may not be racing, but we spent a lot of money on this race car and somebody's driving this car tonight. And off they went. So I sat there for about a half hour thinking, oh, nobody's driving my race car. No way. So there I was. The week before, there was no way, but I might not have been the first guy in the garage, but I was there. But and 22 figure eight, you hit the nail right on the head, man. You know, the old phone on the ram trick. Many a night I sat there with my arms folded, look at a competitor or a car owner or a crew chief in eyes and saying, that's the call and that's what I'm sticking with. I don't know. Could that have been, could that so many competitors didn't go to this race that honored three giants in racing? Could that be? It was so bad that men who lost their life doing what we love, they have a race in their honor. Charlie Guzambach, Tom Boulder, and Richie Evans. You know what? I think that for that day, everybody needed to put their differences aside, load it up, and go racing. Beta Junior, 19. I mean, you were there. I think you were there anyway. I think you were recovering from festivities a couple of days before, or a couple of nights before. But even the other divisions were weak in car count. Yeah, it was hot all week. Yeah, there was threats of rain, 30% all day long. It was from what I understand, the fees to get in were bumped up. 10 charges, 10 Charger cars, 14 blunderbuss. The Legends had 27. From what I saw a couple of times later, that's a drop off too, and they had the 12 figure eight cars, but there was a couple of new guys there, from what I understand. But here it is. Here it is. Again, you're honoring legends, and they couldn't support that. I mean, even talking to Kevin Basic from Long Island Need for Speed, who unfortunately had a previous commitment. He can't be on tonight, and he gave me some things to talk about. But they were doing the old modifieds. They're going to do some laps. Going to do some laps, and then a couple of days before, they were only going to let a couple of cars, one car, and and who's coming and who's not coming, and it was just, and then they ultimately they put some of the stars in the cars that were there and let them do their thing for I guess it was 5 or 6 minutes, and like Beta 19 says, 14 blunderbuss cars is pathetic, and I'm quoting Beta Junior 19. I used to have a bad night and finish 25th. Yeah, I can remember having bad nights and not even making it. Not me personally, but the car I was about with. And then I saw in the social media, it's the economy. It's the economy. Stop blaming the damn economy for poor car counts. You can't blame the economy. Stop putting blame somewhere else. All I saw all week was this guy's coming, this guy's coming, this guy. Justin Bonsignore's coming, Kenny Hagee's coming, Ronnie Silk's coming, Ryan Preece is coming. Holy jeez, it was a who's who of who's coming. I really thought there was going to be 30 cars there, and I think, Rob, you hit it right on the head. There's inconsistency. You're going to make calls, and I'll tell you what, I've officiated over 6,000 events. And I only know that because UPS had to figure that out for me one day. I went through the schedules, all the years I was an official, all the races, over 6,000 events in my lifetime that I've officiated. And did I make some bad calls? I probably made 5,000 or 6,000 of them. You know? There were days that I just wasn't going to be right. And there were days and nights where the only guys that liked me was the winners, unless it was Frank Vigarola. He would win and still be mad at me because, you know, the move over flag wasn't watched or somebody didn't get out of his way, you know. It's not an easy thing to do. I mean, a couple of weeks ago I was up on the ramp in my old familiar spot, and there I was, and stuff happened like right in front of us. And because that's not what I was watching. I was watching somebody in particular. I didn't see what happened, but neither did the guys on the ramp either. But it happens, you know. I don't know, and you know, and MVP Video Mike, he's saying that the car count at Mountain Speedway in Pennsylvania had 7 modifieds, 6 late models, 9 4-cylinders, 11 street stocks on Saturday. It is a problem all over, and you know what? It needs to be addressed. And adding more divisions doesn't solve that problem. See, what you have to do is you have to bite the bullet for a year or two. What you have to do is say, all right, what do we want to do? Because they're giving divisions off, and I'm specifically speaking of here on Long Island. They're giving divisions off. That tells me you have too many divisions, because you want to give everybody 12, 14 events. You know what? Go with 3 or 4 divisions and let everybody race every week. And I think the car counts would increase. Just my opinion. You know, I think that would make a big difference. And there's just too many divisions. There's just too many divisions, and you're just spreading yourself so thin. And that's part of the problem. But you know. And Harry Man, welcome. And and when I say when Harry Man, when you're saying better management, I'm sure you're talking about the management in the garage area, in the pit area. And I've said this so many times. You can't officiate by committee. There has to be one guy at the top. It's a pyramid. The guy at the top, he's at the top. He's at the top because he or she earned that position. They earned that spot, and they need to have the knowledge and the ability to rely on their people to make it happen. Like Cameron said, there can only be one chief. In an Indian tribe, Native American tribe, or whatever word you want to use in today's society, there's only one chief. There's only one president of the United States. There's only one CEO of a corporation. There's only one manager on a football team, on a baseball team. There's only one coach. Yeah, do they have assistants? Absolutely. But you know what? When all push comes to shove, you're relying on that one individual who is relying on his team of experts to work that out. Cars shouldn't be circling around the racetrack while a triumvirate of officials sit there and make a decision. You know, it's Harry Man, I'm not even going down that road. If you want to say it, I'll read it, but I'm not gonna because I know exactly what you're talking about. But you know, it's just I was, you know, and I know you're not gonna believe this, folks, but I was saddened when I looked at the results the next morning. Saddened to see that there was only 14 cars to honor these men. Now, I never met Richie Evans, but I met Charlie Jazombek when I was a young kid going to the races. I wasn't big on autographs. I'm still not big on autographs. Somewhere I had somebody take a picture with my little flip flash Instamatic camera thing back in the 70s, which who the heck knows it? It's in a box somewhere. But Tommy Baldwin, I knew him well, and I'm surprised he hasn't come through the clouds and gone to the promoters and say, don't do this race no more. Because that was an embarrassment. And not only was it an embarrassment to the competitors that went there to race hard for that money and for that prestige, but it was an embarrassment to the management and staff of that racetrack, Riverhead Raceway. And I don't want to hear about the economy. I don't want to hear about the weather. You know, like I said, I've gone to many a race where we were standing in 3 inches of water waiting for the rain to stop so we could drive the track and go racing. You know, based on a prediction of, you know, it might rain. Yeah, it might not too. You know, I get a kick out of those things. You know, it might rain. Okay, it might not. You know, it's like, do you see the glass half full or half empty? You know, it's, I don't know. I look at things a little different, you know, and right, wrong, or indifferent. I look at things differently. I try to be in a position, like, you know, in one of the social medias, there's a page for this racetrack, and I guess the person who set the page up is upset that people are being negative, and maybe they are. But you know, it's sometimes you got to vent. You have to vent, and yeah, are there a couple of bad apples that just seem to always be named? I call them the fence grabbers. They're standing on the fence, holding on, looking in, and you know, they're going to tell the drivers how to drive. They're going to tell the officials how to officiate, and they're going to tell the crew chiefs how to set the cars up. But they've never turned a wrench in their life. They just stand on the fence, holding on, looking through the little chain link, through this little square that's, you know, 2 inches by 2 inches, and they seem to know everything. And I've dealt with those types of people in my lifetime. And if you don't know what you're talking about, maybe you need to be quiet. And that's what should be sold to some of these people. You know, if you don't understand the sport, you don't understand the business, you don't understand what it takes to put a race car on a racetrack, maybe you should go do something else. But you know, this individual wants to take down this site. He wants to take this down, and because of, you know, a couple of negative people. And you know, my mother always told me, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And if these people want to complain and bash and knock and not come up with suggestions, and you know, and then so be it. Maybe they should go do something else. And I know I've tried. I've made suggestions and what, but who knows? But like Harry Mann saying that there's things that need to change, and you know, I don't think the lower pit pass price thing is gonna get more cars to come to the racetrack, because I know other racetracks the pit fees are a lot more, and not to put down the guys that are doing the job. You need to read the rule book, you need to understand the rule book, and you need to be consistent in your decision making. Like one driver said to me, he goes, you know, Joe, you aren't always right. And there was things I disagreed with, because but every week when that situation arose, you made the same call every time. I tried to be consistent. So when a guy came in and screaming and yelling, I would be able to say, hey, listen, boom, you know, Gagos Paisano back in May did what you just did. He got the same penalty as you. I used to keep little history cards in a little box by division, modifieds, late models, figure eight, chart, whatever. And then every time a driver or a crew chief or an owner came into the office to talk to me, I got a card out. It was their first time. I put their name, their car number, who was in the room, what we talked about, and I put it back. And I put it in number order so I could always find it. And the driver would come into the office, you know, after like having a bad night, and he'd say, you know, Joe, I'm never in here. I never complain. Hold on. I go to my little box, and I take out his card. Yeah, you complained on May 4th. You complained on May 18th. You complained on, you know, and this is what you complained. And they're like, they couldn't believe that I did that. You know, UPS taught me well. If it wasn't written, it wasn't said. So anyway, that's just how it is. You know, but consistency. You know, and yeah, Harry, man, I think I remember that when that person said they can go somewhere else, and you know what? Unfortunately, they are. It's sad. It really is sad. And to see 14 cars, and again, only 10 local guys show up to an event to honor guys that I would consider heroes in my book. You know, it's a sad state of affairs. And I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. You know, I don't know what the answer is, and I don't know how to fix it. You know, do you start over? I mean, do you really start over? Do you finish out the season? Do you suck up the season and let it be what it be? But then, it's the week after the season's over, you announce exactly MVP video. Wholesale changes. You clean house. You clean house from the scoring staff to the tech guys, to the guys in the ramp, to anybody who has any decision-making authority needs to maybe step aside. You need new blood. You need fresh new blood. And that's just my opinion. I'm not saying that the guys there that are doing the job, I'm not saying that they're not trying. I'm not saying that they're not working hard. They are. I've been side by side with these guys. And we talked about it. The last time I was at the racetrack, we talked. I even went out for a Sunday meeting at the racetrack with the officials in one of the divisions, and we, after we talked about it. And I know what they're under. I know what they have to put up with. It's a fine line to walk. It's a fine line to take the job that they do and not have somebody upset with you. But then on the same tone, what they need to do is when they know a driver's upset and they've had words, or the guy came in and vented, they need to call that guy during the week, like Wednesday. Let them know they care about him. Let them know that they value this competitor as an internal customer. Because that's what you have to do. You have to make the person feel important. And maybe if some more of that was done, there wouldn't be some of the stuff that's going on today. And again, not just here on Long Island, but everywhere. Everywhere this is happening. You know, it's just, everybody has to learn to get together. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
This is not your daddy's radio. Well, unless he's cool in Ravio.com, broadcasting to the world.
In Ravio.com. Internet, radio, TV. In Ravio.com. Broadcasting to 6.8 billion people. Streaming 24/7. In Ravio.com.
In Ravio.com.
Hey, this is Joe Larson from the 5 Off, 5 On Racing Show, and you are watching InRavio.com, broadcasting to the world.
Good Times Magazine, New York's best entertainment paper for 43 years. Check out their calendar for all the latest music info, including New York City, Queens, Nassau, and Suffolk. Studio News brings you the biggest news about the hottest artists and sounds. Technobeat is your guide to electronica, techno, house, and dubstep. Backtrack keeps you up to date on the biggest events at the area's performing arts centers and theaters. Good Times Magazine gives you all this and more. It's bi-weekly and it's free. Pick up your copy today or visit goodtimesmag.com.
Okay, we're back. So with that being said, I think we beat this horse enough. Again, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on in this place, because there's people, there's competitors that drive past that place to go race other places. And I'm not talking about they're going 20 miles. They're going out of state. They're going to Connecticut. They're going to Massachusetts. They're going to Pennsylvania. They're going upstate New York. You know, if the economy was the true reason, they wouldn't be going so far away. So I'm thinking, I don't know, you know, and you're right. You know, MVP Mike and Harriman, you guys are, you know, chatting back and forth a little bit about people and who's happy and who's not happy. I'm telling you, there were nights that only the winners liked me, and unless it was, you know, one of the guys that I mentioned earlier, it's just one of those things. And nobody likes the boss. Nobody likes the head guy. Nobody likes their boss at work. Nobody likes, you know, the umpires. Nobody likes those people. You know. Well, what you need to do, or what needs to be done, is you need to be consistent. And I wish, and I've talked to NASCAR higher ups about this. I wish there was like a 5-day training where anybody who is a head official or a head tech guy, they go down to Charlotte, they go down to Concord to the R&D Center, and they give them a seminar. And they give them a seminar on how to be an official. They give them a little, whatever you want to call it, a little discussion outline on rules. The rules should be the same, not only at every weekly racing series racetrack across North America. The rules should be the same week to week at the same facility. And what do I mean by that? You know, you're going to have judgment calls. There's going to be calls that are based on pure judgment. That's going to be based on what, and I'm going to use myself, based on what I saw happen. So if you're on the bumper, if a competitor in car 90 is on the bumper of the guy in car 09, and 09 goes around, you know what? To me, that's rough riding. You sent them. Maybe you didn't. Maybe the 90 car didn't send the owner. Maybe the 09 said, I'd have enough of you banging my bumper, and he brake checked them. Well, better yet, maybe he was losing air in his right rear and he went around by himself. But from what I saw as an official, what I saw, he sent them. You go into the rear, you go into the pits, depending on how flagrant it is. But if you make that call every time, nobody can complain to you. And yeah, I had help. I had a couple of officials on the infield, you know, and there's a different channel. Hey, you know, Joe, you had a little help, or nah, Joe was incidental, whatever. But I had help. I didn't have a committee meeting because I can't see everything. I couldn't see it. There would be 20 cars, 24 cars on the racetrack at any given time doing their thing. I couldn't see everything. So I made an educated decision on my call. I made an educated decision. I decided that based on my knowledge as a race car driver, what might have happened there. And if I didn't see it, I didn't see it. You know? Remember my special glasses, Harry, man? You know, it's funny, you can get them at the party store. They're like real thick glasses, and they're like black. And I made a decision one day, it was a Legends race. And the guy went below, I mean, not only did he go below the bumps and below the apron, he was in the dirt. Now, at the time, there had to be, I don't know, maybe 10 feet worth of apron to the left side of the bumps. Well, he was in the dirt. And he passed like 3 cars, maybe 4, and he goes on to win the race. I went, no. Whatever he passed underneath, I took those spots away. And what he's sitting there, he's all happy, his crew's jumping up and down. I was, no, he didn't win. He's 4th or whatever it was. And I gave it to somebody else. And of course, he wasn't happy. And he came into the office afterwards, and we had a little chat, a little discussion. He still wasn't happy. He told me I was blind. I didn't know what I was looking at. He was pushed down there. What was he supposed to do? You know, that kind of stuff. And, you know, given the same circumstances, I would have did the same thing as a driver. But I made the call. Because that's what I did. If you went underneath that white line, all four wheels, and there was no reason to be there, whatever you gained, I took away. And you had better hope for a caution, because I'm going to take it away at a caution. If it happens at the finish and you win, guess what? You didn't win. So the following week, I'm going to have a meeting with this division. Just, it was their turn. It wasn't done, because every week I had a meeting with a different division. So I went to this party supply store. I got these real thick glasses. And I said, you know, and I wore them. I wore them like all afternoon till the meeting started. And we go there, and I got them all up, and I come out, and I'm on the little platform under the handicapper shack. And I said, you know, one of you guys out there, I want to thank you for bringing it to my attention that I'm blind. I went to the eye doctor, and he gave me these glasses. Well, everybody cracked up laughing. It was funny, 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 ha, ha, ha. And it was a done deal. Done deal. You know, so I don't know. Let's see, dude one, if you want the person to hear it, share it with them on the VOD after the show. Send them the link on Facebook. Absolutely. Absolutely. You need to do those things, because we could do that. But getting back to, you know, some of the things. Now, somebody saw earlier the price was, I don't pay. Finally, I'm 100% at racetracks. I don't pay. So I don't know what it costs to go, but correct me if I'm wrong. Is it $30 to get into the pits here on Long Island? I don't know. I don't want to say a wrong number. I really don't know. I don't know if it's 25. I don't know if it's 30. But there's so many people walking around with VIP bracelets. It's hard to tell who's paying and who's not. But it's. I know other racetracks that the pit fees are a lot, and I mean a lot higher. I've been to racetracks where it's a 3-day show. It's $75. Whether you go all 3 days, 2 days, or you show up Sunday afternoon just to catch 2 races, it's $75 to get into the pit area. It just, you gotta understand. And not that I'm a promoter, but I'm gonna put a promoter's hat on for a second. Your pit gate, the back gate as they call it, has to cover the expenses. It's plain and simple. If you're not paying the bills at the back gate, you're in trouble. Now, depending, I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, what it costs to operate, and I can only speak for the one track that I worked at as a head guy, and I was in the know. I know what it costs to open the gates every week. So when you take the total expenses for the year, you divide it by the number of weeks that you open the gate, I know what it costs. And I'll tell you what, and people badmouth, people badmouth the promoters, because, and they call them carnival people, and they call them all kinds of stuff. Let me tell you something, they're business people. And I'll tell you what, I sometimes think they're crazy going through what they go through, going into their own pockets sometimes to cover purses. Could it be partially their own fault? Yeah, it can be. And I'm not saying it is, it can be. Have they been or ill-advised over the years by certain people? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But when your PR is weak, you need, and not just here, every racetrack, every weekly racing series racetrack that races under the Whelen All-American Series banner needs to have, in my opinion, a PR person full-time. That person needs to be driving around every day with a target list of potential sponsors, with a target list of sponsors not only for each race or each night or each division, but even to help out a guy or a girl who's struggling. Right, maybe I can't sell them this deal. I can't sell them this race sponsorship package. But you know what? Maybe I can get help for a struggling team. Those are the things that need to be done. That individual needs to be in shopping centers, handing out free kid passes. Because the kid has to get here somehow. if you hand out 1,000 passes and 100 kids come, that means that's 100 adults that came that weren't going to possibly. At XYZ dollars. Every week needs to be done. I can remember being a little kid and going to my bank, Security National Bank. I had like a little savings account with a couple $100. If I got $5 on my birthday, I put it in the bank. And they had little coupons on the counter for Islip Speedway. Little coupons. Free kid admission. So I always took some with the hopes my dad would, take me. Somehow those coupons always ended up in the trash. But Dad wasn't interested in it, and I respect that. Looking back, I didn't, but now he did his own thing. He was into other things. And maybe I should have listened sometime. I wouldn't be in the predicament I'm in, maybe. At least I can laugh. Like PR MVP Video Mike is saying, PR guy or gal, they never. What is he saying? Never needs to be at his track. He's like a salesman who's out at other tracks, visiting drivers and pit promoting. Bingo. Bingo. That's what should be happening. There should have been a PR guy going to any racetrack that has tour type modifieds, handing out, this is what we're paying off, this is what we're doing, Let's come to our racetrack. I see people walking around other racetracks with their local racetrack coat on, jacket or whatever. There was a guy, I was at Thompson Speedway, and a guy from CCON came up to me and he handed me a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, explaining this big pagan race at his racetrack. And yeah, 22 figure. ISUP had scout night. So did Riverhead. That's scout night. You wore your scout uniform you were in, and it kind of stopped. But I don't know if that's going to get race cars in the racetrack. But there's a correlation. And depending on what side of the fence you're on, if there's no racetrack cars in the pits, there's no people in the seats, and if there's nobody in the seats, there's no race cars in the pits. And again, I'm not singling out Riverhead here, please. And those of you, who think I'm not singling. I'm talking in general about weekly racing series racetracks across this country, because looking around, a lot of these tracks are in trouble. And I'm gonna say something, and that I learned at a job that I worked for 25 years. If you continue to do the things you did, you're going to continue to get the results that you always got. You're caught up in a paradigm. You get comfortable. You get complacent. You sit there like, hey, well, this is there. Yeah, so we got 10,000 people in the seats this week. That's great. A year later, mid-season, you're like, hey, we got 9,500 people in the pits this week, in the seats this week. That's good. We're making money. And as it starts to dwindle, nobody's looking to see where did that lost fan go. Why are they not coming? Is it the show? Is it this? Is it that? I'm telling you, I know a potential sponsor who was coming to check out some things that I asked them to check out. And one of the things that annoyed this potential sponsor is he wanted to see the figure eights. He showed up at the racetrack. He didn't go look at a schedule. He showed up at the racetrack, and he's wondering when the figure eight race is. Now there's a big demolition derby or something to that effect, and he made a comment, how are those cars going to drive on the figure eight course? Look at this, there's stuff all over. The guy says, no, there's no figure eights tonight. He goes, what are you talking about? How could there not be figure eights? How could there not be any division? And one of the things that he also pointed out is and this is specific to Riverhead, a Charger and a late model. To him, as a casual fan who wants to be a sponsor, the late models and the Chargers look the same. So in his eyes, they raced every week. The late models or the Chargers. He didn't know the difference. He's not listening to the announcers. He's listening to race cars. He's listening to people. I don't know. These are the things as a PR person that you need to do. You need to promote your speedway, your racetrack, your facilities, what you have to offer. You need to do that. You need to get out. You need to go. Again, I'm going to say this again. A PR director, that should be their full-time job. And they should be paid based on what they bring in. No base pay. Because you got to make this guy or gal hungry. You got to make them hungry. You got to make them want to go out and get the business. Because if you don't get the business, you're not going to eat. Plain and simple. Oh, Boyce is going to lose his job. Got to go out. You know? And, you know, and it's funny, MVP Mike, we're in the same wavelength here because as a sales manager at UPS, I was an account manager, and I had a very large customer base, and I can remember bringing in a sales representative, somebody who was working their way up the sales ranks. And they're trying to make excuses for their poor performance. And I'm sitting there, you know, I'm part of this meeting with this guy and try to make him better. And the guy kept talking. This new whippersnapper, 2-3 years on the job, he just kept talking. So my boss says to him, do you know why the good Lord gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth? Guy looks at him, what are you bringing religion into this for? He goes, I'm not bringing religion, I'm asking a question. Do you know why the good Lord gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth? And the guy says, I don't know, why? I know you're going to tell me. He goes, because you're supposed to listen twice as much as you speak. And that's what a PR person has to do. You know? I see, Mike, you know what it's like. You know, work the preload. You know, you're my hero. Anybody survived the preload? Wow. But and that's what a PR person should be out Monday through Friday, meeting people, greeting people, talking, working it out, getting people to do that, to get involved. Give them, hey, why don't you come Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, whatever the race is, that Friday, Thursday, whatever that track race. Here's 4 tickets. Why don't you come on me? 4 tickets in the grandstand. See what it's like. You know? What difference does it make if you let 100 people in for free? What difference does it make? What difference does it make? Giving away, the cost to make the ticket is probably like 5 cents. So for a quarter, you just got 4 people to come to the racetrack, and you know what? If you handed out 100 of those tickets, 100 of those tickets cost you $25. I'm not a printer. I'm not in the printing business, right? So now you've done that, and let's say 10% of those people become race fans. So for 25 cents, you're going to get $30 times, let's say, 4 from this guy for a long time. You know? And I disagree, Harry, man. He doesn't have to work a regular job, because if you're good at the job you do, you're going to make money. Because you can't do 2 things good. My father told me that. My father told me to pick one thing and do that one good. So if I'm going to hire, if I own the racetrack, I'm going to meet with a PR guy. He needs to be dedicated 100% to promoting my racetrack. And he needs to be out in the street every day. And once a month, I need to see that he went to the shoe store and bought a new pair of shoes because he wore out the ones from walking around and around and around. And when he hands in his expense account and he shows me that he put 2,000 miles on his car doing this, I'll be happy to pay him. Because if he saw 1,000 customers or 1,000 potential clients or spoke to 1,000 people about the racetrack and only 10% of them come. I mean, and I don't mean to stand corrected there, Harry, man. I'm just saying, you know, you got to make them hungry. I do that with my employees. If they want 30 hours, I give them 20. If they want 40, I give them 32. You got to make them hungry. Okay? Because if you're hungry, you try to do better. You know, and that's how I run my businesses. You got to make a person hungry. You got to be a want creator. You got to make people want it. You got to make people do that. You know, And you know, and well, from what I understand, they do that. There's a couple of pay for Eagles at the local racetrack, and then the PR guy has one, and the facilities manager has another, and I don't know about anything else, but that car needs to be driving all around. It's like the Inravio van. People are starting to say, "Hey, I saw your van," and I'm like, "Yeah, wow, hey, good. You know, it's not my van, it belongs to Inravio." But people say to me, "Hey, I saw your van." People come into my store, "Hey, I saw your van." I was like, "Oh yeah, it's good. Oh, it's nice." You got to make a presence. Got to make a presence for your organization or your business, you know, because that's what you got to do. And again, people don't understand that, and I think that's what has to be done. Listen, I don't get me wrong. I have no desire to go back knocking on doors and seeking business. I did that for 20 of my 25 years, and I'll tell you what, I wore out a lot of shoes, beat up a lot of cars doing it. And not race cars, that I did, you know, on my own. But you know, you do what you have to do to make money, and that's what we did, you know. And you just keep on going. You keep on trugging along. You set up target list. Hey, you know, who am I going to go after next year? And I had to do a monthly. I had to plan my sales calls a month in advance. And then I was judging my percent effective. That was one of the elements. Percent effective to the plan of my plan. I thought it was the stupidest thing, but you know, it was the way to keep you going, the way to keep you, I don't know, hungry, keep you busy, keep you working. You know, that's what you have to do. PR guys need to do that. And every racetrack needs a PR person. And I know back in the day, and I know Bob Finan, and I know Bob Finan probably 35 years. And when Bob Finan was able to do his PR job pretty much full time, things were different. Totally different. And as Dude one says, these costs are the cost of doing business. You have to spend $1 to make 2 sometimes. Sometimes you have to spend $1 to make 50 cents and hope that 50 cents multiplies itself. Sometimes that's what you have to do. You know, PR, promote your business. Because if you're not promoting your business, nobody else is gonna. You gotta promote your business, and that costs money. And I'm not saying take out a full page ad in the local newspaper, that, you know, but how about a full page ad in the local newspaper? They're inexpensive. They're inexpensive to do. It doesn't cost a lot of money to go to the local paper and advertise. You know, it doesn't. It just doesn't. So, with that being said, we're going to take a break and we'll be back.
YouNeedAPart.com. Fast and free, the internet's top used parts locator service. Over 3 million part searches since 2001. Salvage yards, sell more parts. Become a member today. YouNeedAPart.com. Tell them you heard it on Enravio.com.
Hey, this is Joe Larson from the 5 Off, 5 On Racing Show, and you are watching Enravio.com, broadcasting to the world.
Enravio.
Termite Marine Contracting offers all stages of dock building, including brand new docks, repairs on existing docks, pole setting, dredging, and decking. Termite Marine Contracting covers the South Shore of Long Island from Massapequa to West Islip. With more than 25 years experience, full crews, and the right equipment for any job. Got a job you want done right? Call Termite Marine Contracting at 516-449-4567. That's 516-449-4567. Or follow us on Facebook. Termite Marine Contracting. When you want it built right.
Enravio.com.
Back to the music in 60 seconds. Enravio.
and we're back. Hey, so sometimes the stuff that you do during break is like pretty funny. You know? It's good to be able to laugh. Good to be able to laugh. Studio A today was pretty interesting. I got to eat some good stuff. It was pretty good. And I had like this spaghetti with some cheese stuff in it. It was pretty good. You know, but anyway, yeah, I'm gonna sing. Hey, you know, speaking of singing, if anybody watched the race in New Hampshire, they caught me on camera singing "God Bless America." I couldn't believe it. I thought the camera was on the crew chief of the car that I was standing by, but then when I watched the recorded version, a friend of mine had recorded it for me, and I watched. There I was singing "God Bless America" on TV. So now I'm like a TV star. I guess that's what they call it, DVR. There I was singing "God Bless." I had my helmet and my hand on it, I guess because I look so professional. I don't know. I'm like trying to. And I'm gonna be honest with you, if I see a camera like behind the wall, I'll try to walk past it so I could get my 5 minutes of fame. But I did not plan on being seen mouthing the words to "God Bless America." You know, yeah, I was 22 fifth grade. You go see it. He writes on the social media how I was all over the TV. I can't believe how many times I was on. You know, I mean, it helped that one of the top runners that I had on pit road, Todd Zegedy, in the 2 car with Mike Smerglio racing. They had a pit early and often. You know, like vote early and vote often. So every time they pitted, there I was. Thanks, WJ. But and then we had a cup official helping us on pit road for the race. Now they don't really know. They know the pit rules. And don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say they don't know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They knew the pit rules, how many people over, what you can do, what you can't do. But they don't know that a modified car cannot go on a racetrack without Nerf bars, whether they're the side Nerf bars or the rear Nerf bars. So there I am. I'm like 5 pit stalls back, and the 4 car pulls in, and I see that the Nerf bar's off. It's gone. I go running down. Now the cameras come to me like this guy's running down pit road. What's going on? You know, I guess they thought I was going to break up a fight or something. I don't know. And I'm pointing to the Nerf bar. All of a sudden, somebody jumps in front of the car. No, you can't go. You got to fix the Nerf bar. So I'm sure the 4 team, they feeling I should have just minded my own business. But yeah, I was like, I was on TV, man. So it's kind of funny seeing yourself on TV because then never mind. Yeah, you know, like he saw more of me on TV than of JR's Mountain Dew commercials. I can't believe, like I said, sometimes I try to walk past the camera so I can say, hey, there I am. But there I was singing, I was running down pit road, you know, standing by my cars, watching them work on it. It was fun. I had a good time, and it's like I said, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, so New Hampshire. And I want to talk about that a little bit. I know the race was a couple of weeks ago, but Ryan Newman. First of all, Ryan Newman's my bud. We were chilling. We were hanging before the race, and it was kind of interesting to see Ryan Newman sitting on a rim in an open trailer, putting decals on his helmet. You know, decals on his helmet. He didn't have his. He used to have this woman that followed him around to make sure he was drinking the certain refreshment every time there was a camera on. I didn't see her, but what I did see was he was walking through the garage area. He was sitting on a rim doing his thing. Him and I were chatting. I'm telling him about how my daughter thinks he's the greatest guy and all that kind of stuff, and you know he's laughing. And then my good buddy Grub, I got to thank him because, you know, we're sitting there, we're talking. I said, you know, listen, my daughter Jessica thinks that Ryan Newman is like the man. You know, he is the man to her. At the end of the night, Grub comes over and he goes, hey, Ryan, I want you to have this hat for your daughter. Like, he all signed it up. So, but he got blamed. Ryan Newman got blamed for that big wreck at the start-finish line. And now, I didn't watch the video, but I know what I saw. And you know what? Sometimes you get on the gas at 600 horsepower modified, sometimes the wheels spin. And sometimes you don't go, you know. I don't know. It wasn't something. I don't think Ryan Newman was sitting there and says, I think I'm going to take out half the field. You guys and gals who've never raced a race car, nobody thinks like that. you know? I don't know if he spun his wheels. I don't know if the guy in front of him spun his wheels. But somebody spun the wheels and didn't go. And then you have the chain reaction. You got open wheels. You got, 14 inches of tire hanging out on each side. And somebody don't go. Then you try to avoid it. And you rip off a left front or right. And God, there was wrecked cars everywhere, you know? WJ, I'll tell you, I'm glad you brought that up. Because I'm hearing all this stuff that went on with the figure eights. And I watched the video. Rick Swanson videotapes every race. I watched his video. I don't know, a couple of wrecks, whatever. All of a sudden, I'm hearing that it's like brawls and everything's going on, And I'll tell you that Rick Swanson, he's been a crew chief for Uncle TK Tomcraft for all of his championships. He's been around for as long as I can remember, and we're talking about going back into the late '70s. Another guy I've known over 35 years, and he knows that my mechanical ability is not very well. I'm not good. I'm not a mechanic, and Ricky's helped me 1,000,000 times. And when I say 1,000,000, I'm probably not exaggerating. I can remember tearing wheels off my car, tearing spindles off my car, bending stuff, wrecking stuff, and Rick was a low budget racer. So we weren't bringing him. He never brought his race cars to the frame guy. Rick made it happen, and there was some weeks that I might not have raced if it wasn't for Ricky. So I know I'm going off on a little thing, but I know he comes on once in a while. So Rick, I want to thank you, man. I want to thank you for everything you've done, not only for me, but for my uncle, even some of my buddies. I call you up, I ask you, and he's one of those guys. Get him there, give him something to eat, get him home, and he'll do it for you. So anyway, he's an awesome mechanic, but he's a better videographer. I know when I did that Real TV stuff, I used some of his footage a little bit, and they liked it. But anyway, so I watched the race on YouTube that he posted, and I'm like, the one incident with the 58 and the 34 up in the turn there by the gate, that was just racing, man. I had nowhere to go, and then I guess it had to do with the Altar Boy, and I know the Altar Boy his entire life, like since he's born. The Altar Boy, that Bob Biden, the PR guy / announcer, nicknamed him. The Altar Boy, if you take me and TK together and him and I have a temper tantrum, we are cartoon characters compared to the Altar Boy. Just saying. So I don't know what happened. Apparently, I don't know what happened, but I know it was ugly again. And they just had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with this craziness. You can't have this craziness. You can't. I go to racetracks in New Hampshire, and the state troopers are right there, Connecticut, Jersey. You want to be stupid like that? They're going to take you out, silver bracelets. Or sometimes they use the zip cords when there's a lot of people. They use the zip ties, the big, thick ones, and they get them as tight as they can. They don't tolerate that crap, and that's what happens. And this is a situation where the officials can't go, I didn't see it. Whoa, what happened? They can't do that. They have to hold somebody accountable for that. They have to hold somebody accountable. And again, I'm not saying suspend people, because when you only have 12, 14 cars in the division, you can't start suspending 10% of your field. But what you can do is, you just lost 50 points. Because that's why we're all there. That's why a racer races. It's not for the money. It's for the points. It's for the points. And at the end of the year, you get bragging rights. Hey, I finished first in points. I'm the champion. I finished third. I finished ninth. Hey, last year I finished 14th, but this year I finished 11th. Hey, that's great. It's the points. But to go after somebody on a racetrack and intentionally hit them, because that's the gist of what I'm getting here. You don't do that. You just don't do that. Okay. I know people have been hurt in race cars. I've been hurt in a race car. You don't do that. You don't deliberately go after those. And I'll tell you what, if I was the head guy at that, and I see somebody doing that, they go on vacation. And for those who know and don't know, there's been competitors. There's one guy I suspended indefinitely back in 02, 01. As far as I know, that guy's still not racing for what he did. He drove all the way across the infield and he blasted a guy by Victory Lane. You could have hurt a lot of people. A lot of people. Another guy came in and wrecked somebody in a pit area, drove into him. Could have hurt a lot of people. He got a year off. You got to do that sometimes. I call it addition by subtraction. But when you only have 10, 12 cars, you suspend one. You suspend it. It's like 10% of your field is gone. And those guys, they bring 5 people in the pits, another 5 people in the grandstand. So when you only have a handful of people in both, you can't do that. But I think I did see that, WJ. I think in the video that was in the far end of the racetrack. I just, because it was sparks were flying under the 14 car. And I guess the 66 was just going to get into a spot. And, to get back on line, wherever he was going. I don't know. I can't think that. And then, then broken down, he got stuck in the dirt there in turn 2. Who's to say what could have happened if he didn't? You can't do this stuff. And when I look back, it's the same people all the time. The same people. Just shouldn't be. But anyway, speaking of the same people, the only action at in the top level this weekend that I'll be talking about is the Nationwide Series race. Joey Logano was the winner. Sam Hornish Jr. second. Austin Dillon third. Elliott Sadler was fourth. Brian Vickers fifth. Parker Klingerman sixth. Trevor Bayne was seventh. Justin Allgaier eighth, and Brad Sweet ninth. And rounding out the top 10, Matt Kraft and Joey Logano, the only Cup regular to make the trip to race, and that was good to see. So it would have been nicer if there was no Cup regulars, but anyway. The way the points shape out, Sam Hornish Jr. is the point leader, followed by Reagan Smith, Austin Dillon, Elliott Sadler, Justin Allgaier fifth. Sixth is Brian Vickers, Kyle Larson seventh, Brian Scott, Trevor Bayne ninth, and Parker Klingerman 10th. Now, for those of you who were at or saw the New Hampshire race, Elliott Sadler is still pretty ticked off at Reagan Smith. What happened in New Hampshire was Elliott Sadler was well on his way to a top 10, if not a top 5 thing, and being taken up by Reagan Smith. And Elliott Sadler has made it clear to Reagan Smith, and I quote, "He will not win the championship, mark my words." Now this is week 2, and he's still a little ticked off about that. And yes, the ARCA race is on TV. I saw my cousin Freddie Kraft. He was spotting for the 35 car, I believe. Kind of proud of that little guy. He's been racing since he's born, one way or another. But anyway, it was good. It was I thought the Nationwide race was, but going back to New Hampshire, one of my favorite places to go, and only because it's I don't know, too many. It's always gotten better year after year after year for me. From when Bob Bear had it, now to Root Smith, it's just I like going there, and it seems like in recent years, the modifieds aren't the redheaded stepchildren that we have to load all our stuff, drag it to pit road, drag it back, unload, load in the trailers, unpark, park, repark, go out in the grass, come back. Once we are settled, we were settled, and that's how it's been. We just get better treatment. And the crowd that the modified race had. Now, the modified race went off first in New Hampshire, followed by the Nationwide. And I swear to you, and maybe I'm being biased here, but I think there were more people in the seats for the modified race than the Nationwide race. Just the way it looked. To me, I don't know. And it's the Cup guys and Nationwide teams are on top of their haulers watching the modified. Now, maybe they were watching to see what Ryan Newman's going to do, and maybe they were, going to see if they could, maybe he'd crash out. But, I wish, and here I am wishing, I shouldn't be wishing for things, but I wish that there were more Cup guys in the event. Look, there was a decent field of cars. I mean, they didn't fill the field, but we haven't really filled the field in the modified series all year. But there we go. Moopy Head is saying 400,000 people watch the modified race on Speed. I think that's what they're saying. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, unless you're talking about the ARCA race. But it was a good event. It was the first 50 laps. It was funny. I was talking to one of the drivers. I'm not gonna say who it was because I guess I really shouldn't be having this kind of discussion. I said, "What's your strategy for this race?" And he goes, "The first 50 laps is practice." I said, "Whoa," because there was a break at or about lap 50. He goes, "In the first 50 laps of practice, and then I'm gonna race the last 50 laps." Now the first 50 laps was caution free. It was you got into a rhythm. It was nice, and then you did the next. So the next 50, and it was a good run. And Ryan Priest goes out. I believe it was Ryan Priest. Wow, I can't even remember that far back, but it was a good run. It was a good run, and good. Again, it was a decent field of cars for the modifieds. Like I said, I would have expected more, but they weren't. You take what you got this week. This week, the modifieds had the Monadnock Speedway up in New Hampshire. A tight little bull ring there that's similar to a Riverhead. It's going to be an interesting race, I think. And I think we'll have a good number of cars that'll come out for that. It's another one of those places I like to go to. And the only thing I don't like about Monadnock, it's in a hole and there's no cell phone service. And I'm kind of lost without my phone sometimes, especially in this day and age where they're trying to run a business and they call me like 100 times with questions and stuff. But Monadnock, a nice place. And it's not that far up. If you want to go up, I mean, you're going to get home late. Actually, you're going to get home early in the morning. But man, if you want to see some good hard racing, go up there. Go up and go to Monadnock Speedway and watch this race. Because I think it's going to be a good one. I love when we go to a bull ring after a speedway race. I love it because it's just so different. The bumping and the grinding and the pushing and the shoving, the beating and the banging. My fave. I love that stuff. I love it. Anyway, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'm going to continue on the Joe rant because Joe's going to rant tonight. Unless there's something you want to rant about. Anyway, we'll be back.
If you want to increase business, you've got to advertise. Contact Resonant Voiceovers for an effective, affordable commercial spot. Our production, audio, and editing personnel will create top-quality recordings to promote your business. Start getting internet exposure for your business today, right here on Enravio.com. To contact Resonant Voiceovers, go to the Enravio Advertisers and Sponsors page and click on Resonant Voiceovers. Resonant Voiceovers, when you want your message to resonate.
Hey, dude, it's me again. Village Music Shop in Mastic. Anyway, you all know my dog, Mr. Big. Yeah. Well, Dudes and Dudettes Village Music Shop has been in business for over 37 years, serving musicians with the best products and service around. Oh. They have private lessons on all instruments and in all styles of music in their new state-of-the-art digital teaching studios, with the excellent sales and service of guitars, drums, school band instruments, amps, PAs, as well as sheet music, books, and accessories. Basically, dudes, everything musical. Right, Big? Yeah. Chill out. Village Music has rentals on all instruments, even PA systems for your parties and barbecues. Oh, cool. Dudes, Village Music Shop never has a sale on stuff, because every day our prices are lower than all the competition. Stores, internet, whatever, guaranteed. Yeah. So come to Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Phone 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Anyway. Mauritius Bay Diner and Restaurant. Steaks, chops, wraps, breakfast skillets. The Mauritius Bay, 62 Montauk Highway in Mauritius, New York. 878-6827. The Mauritius Bay Diner and Restaurant in New York. I get so lost. Hey, this is Chuck from the Two Guys and the Chick Show on Radio.com. Hey, you know, this last election, hey, only 10 million people on Facebook said that they actually voted this last election. Go figure. I guess it kind of opened their eyes a little bit that internet is the new way to go. I guess you could say the future of radio is now, broadcasting to 6.8 billion people in Radio.com.
In Radio.com.
East End Screen Printing and Embroidery. Shirts for as low as $3 with print. 631-281-TEES. That's 631-281-TEES. 1355F Montauk Highway, Mastic, Long Island, New York. Go to eastendsilkscreenprinting.com for more info.
You are listening to InRadio.com.
Hey, we're back. Hey, InRadio.com wants you to know you can help give the gift of life by donating blood. The Central Islip Fire Department will hold a blood drive on Tuesday, July 23rd. That'll be tomorrow, beginning at 2:45 p.m. at their headquarters, 97 Carlton Avenue in Central Islip. If you have a community event, we want to know about it. Send us your information and on company letterhead to gm@inravio.com and catch us serving the world and focusing on Long Island, InRadio.com. All right, we're back. All right, so I know some people are upset I took some breaks, man. I'm supposed to break like every 20. There used to be like a countdown clock, and then be flashing. If you didn't do the right thing, you get like little nasty grams. But they took that away, so now I try to do my thing. So, try to do the thing. But yeah, my boss is in the chat room, and when I see my boss in the chat room, I got to do like the right thing, because then he'll call me up on the way home and yell at me and stuff, and I don't want that to happen. And then I was, oh yeah, I forgot. But he's probably cracking up right now. Maybe not, I don't know. But anyway. Oh, it feels good to crack up. But anyway. Yeah, so, I heard a rumor. Now, I'm not one on these rumor things. But I heard a rumor. And it's only rumor. And this isn't, I'm not saying this because I heard Inside Scoop, because I'm a NASCAR touring official or anything like that. But, yeah. WJ, you crack me up. I heard about that too. Anyway, I heard a rumor that there may not be an icebreaker at Thompson International Speedway in Connecticut this year. I knew the dude would be laughing. That would be, I can't even describe it. Now, there's new management. Donald Honig, who's been there forever, has turned over the reins of the facility to his son and grandson. And they have different ideas. And that's good. I mean, I wasn't too thrilled when I read about the idea of them pulling out a NASCAR and making it a road course and do club racing and that kind of stuff. But, hey, it's their property. They can do whatever they want to it. They could make another 18-hole golf course if they want to. It's their place. But to not have the icebreaker. I mean, again, it's only rumor, it's only hearsay. I spoke to a couple of people, oh, okay. So maybe that's not a true thing. They lost their race credentials. Because I'll tell you what, I know that one of the verbal agreements that Thompson International Speedway has with the Whelen Modified Tour is they're the first point race. Now with the changing of the layout of Daytona Speedway, not the track itself, but eliminating backstretch stands is the plan for, I believe they already started it, because the grandstands already sold or going to somebody else. And yeah, 22 figure, that's the deal. They get the first and the last points race. So Moopy Head saying, the owner's saying this is true. So depends on where you're going with this. But anyway, wow. I mean, I have mixed emotions because as much as I don't like change, I would like to see that kind of change, because there's no reason why we can't, the Whelen Modified Tour, can't start their first point race in Daytona or the surrounding area, like New Smyrna. There's no reason, because they can't race where they raced last year. Anyway, that configuration, and I'm saying this as somebody who watched some of the other events in the Battle of the Beach. It was tough to turn. It was too tight. The straightaways were too long for those turns. I mean, it was like going to a fire department race, and they mashed the gas and they locked the brakes. Mash the gas and lock the brakes. And so I could see starting the season off at New Smyrna. I don't think that would be a bad thing. I mean, they'd have to put up some shekels, and maybe there should be maybe more than one race there that week for them to make it worth their while. But if I was in the say here, if I had anything to say about it, if I was in any of the meetings, I could get them to do that, I think. Are they building a track? No, what they did, 22 figured, is that they took in the process of taking those seats down, in fact, I think they're not eliminating, but they're taking all the front street stretch seats out and lowering the seating capacity. I think they're taking out 64,000 seats or 160. I don't know. And forgive me for not knowing exact, because they want to make wider seats and make them more comfortable. Because in talking to anybody when they fill out the surveys, the biggest complaint that they have is the seats are. When they measured these seats in 1959, people must have been smaller. Because when they put this racetrack in, people must have been a heck of a lot smaller. Because I'll tell you what, anybody who's ever been to a racetrack, to a sprint cup track, and you're sitting there and you're in your seat and you're all comfortable, and there's two seats next to you. And all of a sudden you see two big guys with their big coolers coming up the aisle. You look at the person you're with, you say, I hope they're not sitting here. And then they go in your aisle, and everybody has to get up, stand, go as tight as they can to their seat, so the two big guys could squeeze in, and then they sit next to you. And for the rest of the race, you're sitting like this. You're sitting sideways because there's just no room, and you have your leg crossed, and you can't even get to your cooler because they're in the way, because they're real wide. These guys, they're sitting like this. They're all sitting there. So people complained. International Speedway Corp. Listen, they're making bigger seats, and they don't want to see. They don't want to see empty seats. So you eliminate some. You have to move those people who have those seats to the front stretch, because there's availability. I mean, when I was in Daytona, I just for kicks, I went up to the thing. I think it was the Friday before the 500, and I said, "What's the best seat you have?" And they said, "Where do you want to sit?" There's seats everywhere. But yeah, and I don't go anymore either. WJ, I went to a lot, and yeah, I mean, they can't lower my prices too much more at Martinsville, because I had start-finish line, Petty Tower, right next to the columns. Maybe there was 10 rows behind me, and I asked to be in front of the column because it was blocking the turns, and I couldn't see what was coming. And on Cup Day, my ticket was $75, and for the truck race, it was $22. And I went to Daytona, it was like $260 for the equivalent or the comparable seat for just one. My package was over $1,000. But yeah, so I don't know. They kind of relaxed on the cooler thing. Now it's back to based on the size, but they put their hands on it and they touch on your food and stuff. Not my thing. But it's just it's incredible. So anyway, getting back to what I was talking about. Man, if the modifieds start in February and they start at New Smyrna, and I'm thinking they need to do 2 races there to make it worth the while, to get these teams to make some money. It's not, how much of a, you're not going to pay $20,000 to win at New Smyrna. You know, what that's, I think that should do. And then take a couple weeks off, and then go to Richmond. Take a couple weeks off, go to Richmond in March. Take a couple weeks off, and I'll tell you what, pull the weeds, get out of some paint, and go to North Wilkesboro. I would love to see the modifieds at North Wilkesboro. But I don't, 22 figure, I don't care if they touch my beer. It's closed, they can touch it. Just don't open it. Guy did that to one time. He was going through my cooler, and I heard shh. So not only did he open the beer, it got all over everything I had in there. So my chips and pretzel rods and Twizzlers were like useless. I mean, come on. And the guy didn't even say sorry. He just went next. I'm like, oh man, it should have happened 15 years ago. Never mind, I can't say that on national stuff. But anyway, but that a lot of other racetracks should do that, like Martinsville, those seats in the backstretch. Get rid of them. You don't need them. You don't need them. They're covered up anyway. You don't need them. No, I don't think there's been a sellout in a Sprint Cup race in quite some time. And if they say it was a sellout, I'm thinking somebody bought a bunch of seats and didn't use them. Well, no, it's not that I chill them. It's just easier to put them in one bag until I get settled, because I had the maximum size cooler, 14 by 14, and I'm one of those guys. I usually have somebody else carry it for me, and not because I make them do it. It's just how it works out, Oh, had some good times at Martinsville, good times at Daytona, yeah, but it's just one of those things. I'm really seriously thinking about going back to Martinsville because I get treated very well there, and it's not expensive, overly expensive. I mean, you got to get there, so either you got to rent the car, you got to fly. But even if you fly, you still got to rent the car. But anyway, it's just one of those things. But now the trucks are going to Eldora, racing on dirt. Man, I don't know when the last time that a NASCAR top series raced on dirt. I don't know. I was trying to find it and I couldn't. But the Truck Series event will mark the first 42 years. Wow, I found it by accident. My mother always says that when you can't find something, look for something else. The Truck Series event will mark the first time in 42 years a top NASCAR series has competed on dirt. Whoa. I wanted to go to that race, but I got other commitments that weekend. But man, it's gotta be pretty cool. That's what I'll be doing. Oh, thanks, Moviehead. I don't know. I'm lucky. I know I'm going to Monadnock this weekend. Like my boss at work, he was like, "Can you give me next month's schedule?" I said, "No." He looked at me, thought I was kidding. I said, "I don't have it." He goes, "What?" I said, "Well, I'm at this one. We have a meeting, and then our boss in NASCAR will say, okay, our next race is New Hampshire. We're going to open up at 6 a.m. on Wednesday." "Oh, okay. Now I know. That's where I got to go." Oh, Moviehead. It's funny. Yeah, they did. It's funny. Now, for those who don't know this inside joke, we get to the racetrack at I mean, it was kind of overcast, but we get to the racetrack. It's dark. It's like, I don't know, 6 in the morning or whatever, 5 in the morning. And they had these rally cars cruising around. They sound like lawnmowers with no mufflers. And they're driving around, and then I realize I'm standing by a gate that's in turns 1 and 2, and I get a face full of dirt, and I realize they're racing on dirt. The dirt was on the racetrack. They put dirt on the racetrack. Well, if you watch, a friend of mine, Sunday afternoon, I'm at his house, and he says to me, did they paint the racetrack in turns 1 and 2? I said, "Why?" He goes, "Look at it." And I'm looking. I said, "No, they had rally cars. There was dirt." the dirt Sunday was still visible. It was still visible. And I don't know how we ran the first 50 laps without wrecking, but we had cars wrecking in time trials. The 76 got destroyed in time trials. I believe the 4 hit in time trials. Guys wrecked in time in qualifying because the track was so slick. It had dirt. There was dirt. I don't know what they were thinking. And you know what? I'll tell you. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a facilities guy. I'm you know, and the guys who make these decisions, gals, they get paid a lot to make these decisions. But this is what I'm thinking. And not that anybody cares, but I obviously do care because the chat room is pretty full, and you're back here for more. So, and you're back here like every week. And when I don't have a show, you still come on saying, "Where's Joe? How come there's no show?" So, but anyway, I'm just saying that because I want to be funny today. So, I would take like a big tarp, I'm thinking, and put it on the racetrack surface. And then put the dirt on top of that. But they didn't do that. This dirt was just put on the racetrack. Then it was kicked all over the place because, you know, these are rally cars. They're going sideways, they're jumping on ramps, they're, you know, landing and stuff, you know. It's dirt in the turns, man. You can't have dirt in the turns. Come on. That's how people get hurt, you know. And then maybe not that I'm sure they're not going to call me up and ask me for more advice, but there should have been tarps laid down. But then again, shoulda, woulda, coulda, didn't. You got to pay the price. It's like life. You shoulda, you woulda, you coulda, but you didn't. That's just how it goes. You know, exactly. They put plywood in Bristol, and then you just take it off. And they spent, I'll tell you what, they worked through the night to get that dirt up. And the next morning it rained, and you would think that it would wash away. It just made it worse. The sweeper trucks are out there. That's all you heard was the sweeper trucks. Then we're getting ready to park our cars, and there's dirt all over. There's stuff everywhere, you know. I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, and it wasn't even a good show. I mean, I watched because driving home, that I think it was on. Yeah, it had to be. I stopped to get something to eat, and the place I went to, the establishment I was at, had that on, like in tape delay or some nonsense. And I was watching, I was like, that doesn't look like fun. You know? It doesn't look like fun at all. You know? But dirt. It's going to be interesting to see the Camping World Truck Series on dirt at Eldora. It's going to be pretty interesting. You know? It's just, I think it's cool. I really do. You know, kind of laughing. You know, and Joey Coulter, they're saying he's not going to be a dirt novice when he attempts to pull double duty at Eldora, because the technical information might not transfer. But that seat of the pants feel generated from sliding around a dirt track can't be beat, says Kyle Busch Motorsports' Joey Coulter. It's a whole different ballgame, the 22-year-old said, explaining why he purchased a late model car as well as a crate and super late model engine last year. Coulter will be doing double duty at Eldora Speedway in Rossville, Ohio, competing in the inaugural NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Midsummer Classic on Wednesday, as well as Tuesday's late model invitation. And again, it's 42 years, first time in 42 years, according to this press release from NASCAR. Coulter will be in one of the 3 Kyle Busch Motorsports entries for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series event, joining teammate Darrell Wallace Jr. and legendary dirt racer Scott Bloomquist. So I think my cousin Freddie Kraft, he's going to have some fun with this one on dirt. And, you know, and being an old figure 8 guy, spotter type of thing, I think he's going to do just fine. You know? Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff, all kinds of special stuff on the truck, so to say. That's definitely one for the DVR books. Because I was wishing I could go to that one, but as I've been told by Moofy that I'll be in New Hampshire. I don't know, maybe I could just go to New Hampshire late. You know, I'd go there late and do my thing. Well, he never spotted for a dirt race, but, you know, back in the day when there was no apron on the figure 8 course, that was like spotting in dirt, you know, and I think he was around for that. I mean, he's getting old, you know, and WJ already set the DVR, you know. Yeah, you know, why not, you know? How long could the heat races take? Half hour? 45 minutes? Show one less hour of Barrett Jackson's car auction and show the whole show. You know, show the whole show, because I'm thinking that would be an awesome sight. You know, there's going to be some bumping and banging in this one. There really is. You know, it's going to be good. It's going to be real good, and I'm really looking forward to it. These are the things that NASCAR needs to do. You need to create an interest. You know, the chase for the cup. All right, you know, to me it's getting old. It's getting old. To me, it's just my opinion. But you need to do different things. You know, you need to do different things. We need to reinvent this sport we call NASCAR. You know, I kid you not when I say some of the stuff that happened to Jimmy Johnson in the last few weeks up until New Hampshire, you know, being put to last, having all those problems with Tech, because he was running away with the points. And NASCAR's like, whoa, time out, we can't let this happen. We got to back him up a little bit. And I'm going to tell you something. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm not going to say the who or the what or the when or the where, but one of the things I did to a competitor who was winning just about every week, we went for a little ride in a golf cart. And I said, listen, so-and-so, it's not interesting anymore. The fans aren't liking it. They don't like to see you win every week. He goes, well, you know, if that's what happens, that's what happens. And he gave me this whole big, you know, song and a dance about it. And I said, listen, come in second a couple times. It won't kill you. I mean, if somebody would have had this talk with me, I would have laughed in his face too, but but so he didn't do it on his own, so what did I have to start doing? All right, every time he came across what we call a podium finish, first, second, and third. All right, let's see, what are we going to look at this week? Oh, let's pull the heads. So first it was the intake. I kind of ticked them off because the gaskets and stuff. Then we're going to pull heads the following win, and then after that, after we did that, I pulled the crank, weighed it, you know, like I had an official crank in a box from GM. This is what the crank should weigh. The rule is stock crank, so when we had to weigh it, make sure it was right. And you know, he came to me after one of his technical adventures, and he said, the gaskets are costing me more than I'm winning. Plus I got to go to my engine builder, and he goes, you're costing me money here. I said, you don't get it, do you? And eventually he got it, and he started, you know, maybe finishing third. I don't know. No, it wasn't. I wasn't around for Blunder Cup. I wasn't around for that car. I was already tour racing when the Blunder Cup got, and I don't know. I can't see the whole chat room right now, but I know when Robert bought that car, there was a lot of things he had to change, which kind of annoyed me because, and for those who aren't familiar, we're talking about the blunderbuss division and a certain blunderbuss car that was a 4,200-pound late model. And the guy had some success with it, don't get me wrong, but the car didn't belong in this division. It was outclassed. So, you know, Rob Bader, the 19 guy in the blunderbuss, ends up buying this car for not cheap. And they tell him, all right, Robert, we know this car has this, and I wish he was on here to confirm this, but you need to change this, and this. And when I heard this, I was like, are you kidding? Are you kidding me or what here? Because that meant, A, they were aware of those illegal things, and B, they allowed those illegal things. Hello. No. I don't know. You know, well, why Why does this stuff kind of happen? We talked about this earlier in the show. You know, we talked about it early in the show, and it's not right. You know, obviously they knew. If they didn't know, and he goes through tech and he rolls it over the scales, and oh, by the way, we didn't see this last year, but we're seeing it now. You know, I don't know. It's yeah, he was a rough driver. WJ, he did, and please, I had plenty of quarter panels with his paint all over them, on how rough he was, and how sometimes that he would drive into the left front wheel after he'd spin my kid out and stuff, and I'm changing uppers and lowers and I got real good at changing front end components. I really did, but you know, these are the things, and I'll tell you that I don't like about weekly racing, and it's that kind of stuff. It's that kind of stuff, and you know, relations are. You know what they should do? They shouldn't take, and here we go with that shoulda, woulda, coulda. They should not take a local person who could basically walk to the racetrack and make that person a head tech guy. He or she has too many friends, maybe too many business interests. I'm not thinking your head tech guy should be in the business of engine building. I'm not thinking your head tech guy should be a middleman for crate motors. I'm not thinking your head tech guy should be in a partnership with another engine builder at the racetrack. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. And don't get me wrong, I like this person, and he and I have talked some technical stuff back and forth when it pertains to the modifieds. And I joke around, I'm not a mechanic, and I'm not a mechanic, but there's a lot of rules that over the years that I've kind of put into place, and you know, I know what I'm talking about. I mean, I could tell you what a race car needs. I might not be able to make it happen, you know, with my hands, but I can make it happen with my head. And I could tell a mechanic, this is what I need to have done, you know. But I guess the first step's admitting it. I guess, I don't know. But anyway, what you do with stuff like that, when you have a competitor that's running away with it, in this case Jimmie Johnson, NASCAR don't want this guy to be 100 points up, that he could stay home one week, and the second place guy could win, lead the most laps, and still not pass him. They need to make it interesting, and this is where I think this chase for the cup, throw it out the dang on window. This chase for the cup, man, you don't need that. You don't need that. You know, you don't need to bump up all these guys' points based on where they were, and if you're 11th, you get this, you're in a wild card. You don't need that. You know what? Just make it happen. You know, the late Bobby Lee, the flagman, he used to carry a card, have flags will travel. He was my second set of eyes on the ramp at Riverhead, and you know, and one of the things he said to me one time, we had somebody running away with it in a modified race. He goes, we need a competition yellow, Joe. I said, what the heck is that? He goes, we need to tighten up this field. We need to, well, let's say there's something on the track. Okay, this guy's lapping the field here. You know, I mean, he wasn't. You know. Yeah, dude, one, you know, take your rear end out type of guy. I could take things apart. I could put them back, but whatever. You know, I was lucky. I always had good crew people, good friends. They knew I was incapable of certain things, so they did it for me. You know, my buddy had a shop, and he said to me at this shop, and this is what this guy said to me. I got to share this. You know, he said to me, listen, whatever tools you need, help yourself. Because I have every tool that they have, and if I don't have that tool, it means they didn't invent it yet. And he wasn't kidding. We had some good times. Played some old tunes on the jukebox, worked on the cars. You know, we had some good times, didn't we, dude? We had some fun. You know, but here we go. MyRaceNews.com. Speaking of flags, I said something about flags. Oh yeah, I did. Yellow flag. They didn't have enough Saturday night, need to redistribute what they had. Oh, I don't understand what that one is. Don't understand, but I'm sure I'll get an explanation. But anyway, you need to throw a competition yellow, as they call it. Whether you call it a competition yellow or you call debris somewhere. You know, and then you go out there and you say, oh, well, I thought there was something. Tightens up the field again. Tightens up the field. You know, I don't agree with and I'm going to call it the non-competition go down pit road call that they sometimes make on the tour, because and I'm going to say this again. I know I said it before. You know, you take a certain car, and I'll say it, the 33 or the 38. They're on the racetrack, race just like everybody else, and the leaders are coming. All right, you see who's behind you. Drop it down low, let the whole field pass. All right, so, and I don't agree with that. Then what happens is you've lost your momentum. Now the next time they pass by, well, pick up your speed, bring it down pit road, you're not maintaining minimum. You just told the guy to put the brakes on for a whole lap and let the 30 cars go by. I've had this discussion in the hall like the following week anytime that's happened. And I go and I look, and there's a couple of teams when I'm on pit road, they have their laptops up and I could see the times and stuff, and I'll go take a peek sometimes. And sometimes I don't think, maybe let me rephrase this because I got to be careful. I got to be politically correct. Sometimes I don't think some powers to be are aware of what minimum speed actually is. You know, how slow are you allowed to go and still be on a racetrack? Because you might be watching a cup race or a nationwide race or a truck race, and the guy's, you know, wrecked, and he comes out and he's got, you know, duct tape holding his car together, and they'll say he's been black flagged for failing to maintain minimum speed. Minimum speed is this. You take the pole speed, the pole lap time, and multiply that by 1.25. So let's say, for argument's sake, you're at Riverhead and they turn in a 10-second lap, and using it for round, you know, just round numbers. They turn in 10-second laps. The pole was 10 seconds. So that means a competitor can go 12 and a half seconds for a lap. That's a big doggone difference on a track like that. So, you know, take a New Hampshire, turn in round numbers, 30-second laps, let's say. What's 1.25 of 30? All right, that's like 37 seconds. So I'm listening to on the radio that car number 33, let's say, for argument's sake, is not maintaining, after he just had to let the whole field go by, he's not maintaining competitive speed. And I look up there, and the guy's turning 32 seconds. He's well within what he needs to be. You know, you're failing to maintain minimum speed. I don't agree with that. I don't. The guy is out to race just like everybody else, and he shows up week after week. And you know what? And maybe I'm saying this because I consider the guy a racing friend. You know, but you know, I can remember a race that I was race director at, and I had a certain individual who just wasn't even close to minimum speed, and I was going to put them down pit road. Right? I was going to put them down pit road, and I was told that they only needed 4 more laps because the way people dropped out and boy, guys wrecked and stuff. If they completed 4 more laps, they had the top 20 in points locked in. Okay, so what about the person that they're bumping? About the guy that they're bumping into 21st? I guess that don't matter for that guy. I don't know. But, you know, Wade Cole, I'll tell you what, 22 figure, Wade Cole and I have a unique relationship. And like I said, I consider him one of my racing friends. I'll just leave it at that. Because he's from, how can I put it? I don't mean from where he lives, but when I raced, I wasn't, as you know, 22 figure 8, I wasn't a top running guy. You didn't have to worry about beating me on the racetrack because I beat myself. You know, a bromance. But I was there every week, and I did the best I could with what I had, and that's what this guy does. He's there every race. He's the only competitor in our series, the Whelen Modified Tour, that brings 2 race cars to the track every week. And yeah, it was tough to pass me. That's why I painted my car red, so that every time you passed me, you couldn't tell that that I was banging you and beating you. It was just one of those things. But and to me, sometimes, and I always said, people say to me, when they find out that you're winning, they think it's like bracket racing. You could win 17 times in one day. You ever win? So I finally stopped trying to explain it to them that we point race. I finally said, yeah, I won. Yeah, how many times you win? Oh, geez, I lost track. I won so many races. But sometimes it's what your goal is. What your goal is. There were nights that my goal was to stay on the lead lap. To stay on the lead lap. So if I did that, that was a win. And then when I started, finishing mid-pack at my 9s, 10s, 11s, whatever, that was my goal, top 10. So if I finished 10th, it was like a win. Man, the night I finished 5th, I was like, oh, man, I won the championship of the world. I don't know. But if I ever won the lottery, man, I don't know if I buy him a Hutter. I think he's very happy with the motor he has. PT, he's a good PT. He needs a good PT motor that's not tired. That's what he needs. Those motors still run. And I don't know if Wade Cole would get the same Hutter that Bob Garbarino got, or that this guy got, or that guy got. Because from what I understand, there's different Hutters. I don't know. But it's the guys like the Wade Coles that make a series what it is. That show up every week, working on their cars, getting them ready. Come with sometimes just one guy, because the other guys are at work. That's what NASCAR needs to remember. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour is still a series comprised of working men and working women who have jobs. These midweek shows. I had a conversation at the dinner in New Hampshire. I said, this is kind of funny. I got to lose $1,000 to make 500. And somebody goes, yeah. What? There's a guy in my series, and in his job, he makes $45 an hour. He makes $2,500 a week. He lost $2,500 to make $500. Think about this. We're going to Bristol. My flight is Monday. I got to take the whole week off. The whole week. I'm leaving Monday. I'm flying back late Friday. Yeah, I could work Friday if I choose to. But I'm going to have the same predicament I had coming back from Bristol last year when my connecting flight was canceled and I had to be at work at 5 a.m. and I didn't get home until 2:30 in the morning because I got to Philly and there was no plane. I had to rent a car and drive home after having like a 5-hour layover somewhere. So I can't work Friday. And I got things Saturday and Sunday. So, NASCAR needs to recognize this. And even going to New Hampshire, what's up with this, man? We're racing Saturday. Why do we got to be there Wednesday? I don't understand it. And I know one of these days I'm going to call, Joe, well, you don't have to be there Wednesday. Oh, good. You don't have to be there Thursday, Friday, or Saturday either. I know that's going to come one day. I've been in this series a long time. I've seen some people come and go, But a no-go boat, showboat, what is that? We have a no-go showboat mod at Riverhead now, the O3. I'm missing something there, man. See, I'm out of the loop with what stuff goes on at Riverhead. Totally out of the loop. Totally out of the loop, And you know what? That's a good thing, I think. Because I didn't, like I said, my intentions were to go to that race. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you something. Kenny Hagee has some good runs. He just has bad luck. He was. It's tough coming in. Look at when Kevin Goodale came into the tour. He was going home. for more races than he ran. And then he started making races, and now Eric's running, and the information that team gathered all those years with Kevin running, now that Kevin's kind of running a section of family business, and you know, Eric's up there now. He's one of the guys to beat. He's definitely on one of the guys to beat. You know, and then we tease each other that he's going to come on my show after he wins a race. Man, I think that day's coming. And then he'll be here as a guest. And he's a good guy. Good guy. We have a good contingent of Long Islanders that are on NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. And it's no longer called the Wrong Island Gang as it was referred to when the last regime was in, or the regime prior to Chad Little. It was, you know, the Wrong Island Gang. Oh, gee, here goes another one from Wrong Island. And then what happened is they started coming. The Goodales, Kenny Hagee, Joe Hartman, Glenn Tyler, Justin Bonsignor, Gary McDonald. A third of the field now is Long Islanders. And I'm proud of those Long Islanders. And I'm proud to call some of those guys my friend. Because it's good. It's fun. I was the outsider for a long time. I wasn't from Connecticut. I wasn't from New Jersey. I didn't know any of these people. They didn't know me. But now everybody knows me. But anyway, it's almost that time. It's almost that time. We gotta end on time. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We had a lot of people in the chat room. Before we go, I just want to read this real quick. The Farmingville Residents Association's next flea market will be held Sunday, September 8th, 2013, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the lawn of Pat's Tattoo in Farmingville. Setup time is 9 a.m. and the rain date will be September 15th. All right, so make that happen. You can email FRA23 at optonline.net, and just letting you know, the Farmingville Resident Association is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization. So if you want to get involved with that, just check it out. And check us out here on inravio.com. Go to our links and be a part of it. So next week, WJ, tentatively scheduled is Marissa Niederauer, modified driver here on Long Island and elsewhere. So yes, there is. Her and I had spoken electronically real briefly, back and forth. I was going to ask her to come on today, but I believe today is her birthday, so happy birthday to Marissa Niederauer. But anyway, hope to see some of you folks at Monadnock. If not, wherever you're going to be going this week, be safe, have fun. God bless you all, and thanks for being a part of my show. Good night.
You're just out of place, but you just sort of drive.